All right. Hey guys, happy Thursday and welcome to the In Touch Weekly show on Paltalk.com. I am your host, Dorothy Cassasari, the senior editor for In Touch Weekly, and I'm here today with a very, very special guest, Samantha Goldberg, wedding planner extraordinaire and purse designer.
Spokesperson.
You're going to be debuting a lot of things today, correct?
I got a lot of goodies.
Okay, well, we're very, very excited. If you are joining the show for the first time, we welcome you. It's a really, really fun, we're going to do 20 minutes today because we're a little bit behind, but usually a half hour, all celebrity gossip, celebrity news, all of just the fun things to talk about, nothing too serious. Take a break from all the serious stuff, Obamacare, the Supreme Court, all that stuff. We're not going to talk about that here.
That would be a bad subject.
All right, so Samantha, and I should mention also that I brought along the new issue of In Touch Weekly, which we're going to dig in momentarily. But first we want to talk to our guest a little bit. So Samantha, thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, folks, if you have any comments or questions, raise your hands and we can hear your lovely voices across our loudspeaker. I'm going to try to read the message board, but I don't want to ignore our lovely guest here. And isn't she so lovely? So Samantha, tell us a little bit about your background. Well, first of all, for our loyal viewers, they do know that actually 4 weeks ago today, I just got engaged. So I am really interested in hearing some hearing some wedding planning tips.
I'm available.
You don't have to be planning a wedding to necessarily, hear what's going on in the wedding world. It's a very, big business, and it's a lot of fun to watch. There's tons of wedding shows on TV, and it's definitely kind of, something that people take a lot of interest in. Mm-hmm. So tell us what your latest projects are. A little bit about your background and what your latest projects are.
Well, I started in the professional beauty and fashion industry in Chicago, so not an East Coast native.
All right.
And I did a lot with the professional hair care, makeup, clothing, a lot of runway, a lot of excitement.
Before I have to interrupt you, Alberta226 is saying that the lips on the legs are cute.
Thank you. I love Miss Betsy Johnson. I was truly depressed hearing that she actually was selling her company and got rid of it.
Aren't these just so adorable? Oh, and Alberta.
The shoes.
Oh, and the pink shoes, love it. And Alberta also is saying that she likes my dress. It's very scarf inspired. It does kind of look like a scarf, doesn't it?
It's like a maxi dress.
I know, right?
It's fabulous.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so I started in beauty and fashion, so a lot of people took a liking to that. I used to do my salespeople's weddings, and I was in charge of management. I was pregnant, very far, and my husband tells me one day, hey, guess what? We're moving. So I gave up a very, very exciting career in the beauty business. Came out to the East Coast, and it's very different. So since then, within the first, I was pregnant at the time, so maybe 6 months after I moved here, I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I wish that I was a stay-at-home mom. I spent years with my daughter, but you know what? There comes a time where you think mentally you just need to do something else. You need to be fulfilled.
You have to do something for you
to
kind of give you a sense of accomplishment. Not that it's not an accomplishment to raise a child and raise that child well, but still, you're a work person.
Well, that's exactly what it is, and it doesn't mean that mothers are bad. I think it's just that, when you're in a job and it's very, especially in our world, if you're type A, you need to do something. You're like kind of that doer. You need to just do more, and I think the high of doing better and better just gets you into more things to do and then less time for yourself.
Of course.
I started within that when I did the Vista Print special later on. I was actually working with a couple of the hair companies out here, and they had me as a consultant, and then they wanted to hire me full-time, and it just wasn't something I was going to travel on the East Coast. It was just like having that responsibility but then having a baby. So I said no, and of course that lasted for another month at home. And from there, my husband said, you know what, you did these things in Chicago. Why don't you do them elsewhere? Exactly, why don't you do them elsewhere? And, I had cards made up, and I would say within 6 months, I had 40 clients.
Wow.
It's different in the beauty world. So of course, I'm all excited. Yeah, woo, 40 clients. I know nothing about this East Coast area. And of course, the questions are, well, Samantha, do you have, vendors? Vendors, what's that?
Right,
what's that? I said, well, you mean like beauty and makeup and hair and the cutting? I said, well, we don't really need those for this. They're like, no, like videographers and flowers and, well, I'm a designer, I'm not a planner, so I'm like, well, I didn't really think about that, and they didn't tell me they needed it.
Right.
So of course I was like, had a lot of people in New York that found out that I signed something up that quickly. So they joined in. I met some really amazing people.
That's fantastic.
It was scary. Then 6 months after being here, I was contacted by the Style Network. So I kind of started my career with them.
Style Network, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I have been with them for over 9 seasons. So they're trying to get their 11th season in, but I'm actually working on progress with my own show.
Oh, so that's exciting.
Can't really talk about much, but it's
is it wedding oriented or what is it?
It is, and it's definitely something that I think should be on regular television eventually. I think it's something that I think people around the world will appreciate what the show is about, because it really does talk about kind of the sacraments of marriage and just kind of the process.
Right.
If people get wrapped up in the process, everything's about like the bride, the groom, the decor, the this, that. I usually turn away people in my office. I say, how long are you going to be engaged for? Because you're going to talk about your wedding for 3 years? Because I'm going to go insane. I'm going to go insane. So, from that point, since 2003, when I first came here and moved here, I've done over 1,700 weddings. I mean, I don't, probably even more than that.
1,600 or 1,700 weddings.
Yeah.
That's a lot of details to keep track
that
of.
That was a lot of details. And, some of it was some day of, which was great.
Right.
They had a great orchestration of that, and certainly had a big, very, very anal background, and the organization system, the crossing off the list, how people get. If I cross it off, I'm like, whew, okay, hang on. And I think progressively, it was very interesting. A lot of the company that I have, Sassy Sammy, it's the name of my products.
Sassy Sammy.
Sassy Sammy. I was known on the Style Network as a Sassy Planner.
Do they call you Sammy?
They do. There's a lot of people.
Samantha Sammy?
You know what? Not usually on television. I always hear, like, when that commentator, narrator, she always says, well, Sam, or, Sammy.
Right.
But not Samantha, it's always Sam.
Oh, okay.
Sam's known for this, or I can always tell people when they're comfortable with me, they call me Sam.
Right,
Or
okay.
Sammy. Sammy's a lot of what my friends in Chicago that I grew up with would still call.
Okay. Well, why don't you pull out some things, some show and tell to show our viewers. Folks, if you have any questions about wedding planning and weddings and that sort of thing, so what am I calling you now, Sam?
As long as it doesn't anything, you can call me anything with the letter S. As long as it's not the bad words that come out.
Okay. All right. So, Sam, now have you done any celebrity weddings?
I have.
And can you tell us any names?
I will tell you some names.
Okay.
Some of these weddings did not go through. Some did. So, of course, I'm not going to, of course, some of these were not the first weddings. So I'm not going to mention that.
Okay.
But I will tell you some of the ones, like, let's see, Melinda Williams. She was married to Mekhi Phifer, and then of course it's Derek Jones. So that. I just did the wedding of Michael Bradley. He's a World Cup soccer.
World Cup soccer. Wow.
So Donovan there, Donald Trump there, of course. Germaphobe that he is. So every time I see Donald, I try and hey, nice to see you, and he's like,
no,
he's got a germophobia.
He has the Howie Mandel complex.
No, he completely does. And he's so of course he wants to lean over. He's with Billiana. The last time I saw him, he's like, kiss. I was like, ugh. he didn't have that like ice cream head thing going on there. So that was at his club, Trump. So of course he wants to, it's his place. It's upstage. So
we have a question from Alberta226, which is really cute. Is it inappropriate to wear cleats and 80s shoulder pads to a wedding so you can catch the bouquet? LOL.
Oh my God, that's so
really,
funny.
really cute. Why don't you unpack? Well, and also, I just want to tell a quick story about a wedding that I was in October. My best friend from college, my college roommate, she threw her bouquet from the balcony, and I caught it, and I was the next one out of all of our friends to get engaged. So maybe that really does work. I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of think the lady that catches that bouquet and then her dress falls down, that's probably the one that's going to get married. Somebody's going to see that, right? They're going to see she's a full woman.
Okay, so what did you bring here?
Well, I brought a whole bunch of fun stuff. So
okay.
I figured I'd go through weddings first.
Okay.
And then go on to another fun stuff.
Okay.
So,
we only have about 8 minutes left. So
no, we've talked too long.
Well,
here's something
and we have
cool.
to get to celebrity stuff too. So I would say maybe choose, the top 3 things, and let's go through those.
All right. Well, very quickly, just for the people who are getting married, the most important thing to know is that this time, where we are in our career, you can get things that were double the price for less.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to go to even planners myself or people that you've seen on television to ask, because we do have other employees. We can put together themes for you. I'm actually working on a book right now that's 1,000 ways how to decorate a cylinder vase.
Oh.
Right now I'm at 500.
Wow.
I'm going for the 1,000.
And you're thinking of all these yourself?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, the type of design that I work with is innate. So people, it's called innate. There's nothing innate.
Explain that to me.
An innate designer is basically somebody that doesn't need inspiration for a design. It's kind of something that you can call it intuitive. It's not.
Oh,
really,
innate.
Yes,
I
innate.
thought you were saying like a design thing. You know, like
No.
like an 8, like the number 8. I'm thinking I don't know what this terminology. Okay, got it.
So a lot of people have liked that I put together weddings that are $500,000 in flowers, and they're not celebrities, believe it or not. It really depends on the client what they're looking for. But innate means it just kind of comes from the gut. You meet people, you learn about them, their families, and it doesn't mean it costs a lot of money. So while I'm doing celebrity weddings, people do get intimidated by that because they do a lot of different types of celebrities.
Right.
And, it doesn't mean that we don't take on clients that are at the, under $30,000 amount, which is pretty much the average for out here in the tri-state area.
What's the average?
Well, right now, New York is still pretty close to 30. But if you go into the tri-state, maybe Philadelphia and also New Jersey, it's about $22,000, $24,000 for the entire budget. I know. Yeah.
That's not very high.
It's but here's the thing. You got to keep in mind, the more flexible that you are, you're going to save anywhere from 30 to 50%, if not more.
But that number sounds so low to me.
You know what?
$30,000. That's not going to get you too far. These
you know
days.
what? If you're creative, it does.
Okay.
And if you don't invite 5,000 people, it was actually funny because a girl left a very long message on my at the office and said that she was so embarrassed that she had 400 people for $1,000, and I had some girls in my office who kept playing it back over and over. I'm like, there's no way that she said this is this is what it's going to be and this is how much it's going to be, and I played it for everybody. I said, oh my goodness. And she expects a phone call back. So I had a contest on Facebook asking if you can come up with a way to give her the 400-person wedding for $1,000 because she'd be super embarrassed. Everyone came up with ramen soup because that's like 10 cents a piece.
Oh
and
my!
And we share cupcakes and a half can of soda.
Oh my! So you didn't take this person on as a client, I'm guessing?
No. I've had some really wacky clients who would rather invest in me and not have any wedding, which has occurred.
Right,
And
of
you
course.
just kind of look at them and say, well, what am I going to do for you?
Right.
After I've been doing this for 20 years, so
right.
When does it become a point where you're like, you know what? I don't want to take your money. I want you to have my services and what you want, but the rest is okay. So I got my officiate's license.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm
good.
Reverend Samantha.
Oh wow,
and
that's exciting.
I got certified from the White House, so I'm still there, and I'm able to do weddings all around the country. So people are using me now as a celebrity.
That's
I did
great.
work with Kathy Griffin.
Oh.
She and I on her show. We did a couple things together, but it was fun. She got her officiate's license. We married a couple.
Oh,
and of course,
that's
I'm
nice.
behind the curtain, and of course, Kathy. So I let in barn animals and all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, well, we have to take a break from Wedding Talk to talk a little bit about what's going on new in this new issue of In Touch Weekly. I want to first talk about the fact that Johnny Depp and his girlfriend slash partner of 14 years, Vanessa Paradis, officially called it quits. You know that we've talked about this before on the show, that the two of them were going in opposite directions, but his publicist did release a statement. We know 100% that they are in fact splitting. And Amber Heard from True Blood, I'm a big fan of hers on the show. He's been cozying up with her, and she's really wild. So I don't think that it's a surprise that the two of them are together, because personality-wise, they just seem the same. And actually, there were photos of the two of them boarding Johnny's private jet in Las Vegas just days after reports of his relationship surfaced that it was crumbling. So very, very sad. I do feel bad. 17 years is a long time to be together.
Yeah.
Why they never actually got married, I don't know. That was their own personal choice. Would it have changed anything? I don't know. I
don't think so.
Probably not,
What about Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell?
Right.
If you look at these people, unless you're going to have kids together and you really have, again, it's a piece of paper. So whether you're going to love each other or not, you're married. You make a commitment. That's what we say with, heterosexual, homosexual. I always tell people they have better marriages than we do.
Right.
It's about respect, and it's not about the piece of paper. It's more about just the whole process, the being together, the family. Just whether it's you and them or you and 5 kids, that's what has caused them. I think that
Right.
piece of paper does provide a lot of problems there's a lot of commitment phobic people out there.
Yes, there are.
They're passive and aggressive, and I think
You
it's
have to be
now.
entirely certain. And I hate to do this because I'd love to talk about some celebrity weddings, but the only thing in the news this week are celebrity marriages in trouble. There's a picture here of Katie Holmes with her adorable little girl, Suri, hanging around the streets of New York. And I have to tell you, folks, there's a very, very staggering fact here that I'm hearing. Tom Cruise has plans for his 50th birthday on July 3rd, but he won't be with Katie Holmes and he won't be with his daughter Suri. And the 50th birthday is kind of a big one. And also, another really interesting thing is that Katie has been spotted with Tom just 4 times in 3 months. Now, that's not to say that they haven't spent more time together and maybe they just weren't spotted together, but spotted with Tom 4 times in 3 months. That seems like, I mean, really the epitome of long-distance marriage to me. And you know, that brings up another story that we're reporting on. Katy Perry, she has this new film coming out
in 3D.
Yes, in 3D. Very excited to see it. I just want to count how many different hair colors she has.
She looks good in every hair color.
She really does. Now
here, purple hair. I saw the other
here
night.
we have her in purple.
I love
gorgeous.
that. I saw that.
Absolutely, absolutely
think that's
gorgeous.
beautiful.
And so her documentary, Katy Perry, Part of Me, is coming out on July 5th, and. You know, it's a shame because her marriage of 14 months to Russell Brand, right, it ends up really, you know, you see the progression of it through the documentary, and it's very, very sad. And Katie says that she'll be going 18 days in her itinerary without seeing her then husband, and she's saying, you know, where's my relationship time? So you see all the struggles, and you really understand what is going on behind the scene. But anyway, we do have to wrap up, so we're going to have you back to talk more extensively about all of your products and everything. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Dorothy Lauren, and also on my blog, theblondeinblue.tumblr.com. And Samantha, do you have a Twitter as well, or a blog?
You know what? Samantha, it's called Samantha's Gold.
Samantha's Gold.
I freaked out when some people following me. I'm like, they're really following me.
Okay, at Samantha's Gold.
Well, Samantha is Gold, and then my website is just SamanthaGoldberg.com.
SamanthaGoldberg.com.
I got a lot of fun things to look at there, and I'm very blunt, and you'll have a lot of fun. Very, very fun stuff.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next Thursday.